Hello, back again. Just doing a update video to my Pi Core Player install. As recently they changed a few things, they've moved a few things into different places. Right, the first thing we're going to do is go to the Pi Core Player website. I'll put a link in the description. I'll click on Downloads. Just scroll down. You've got a standard version, 32-bit, and you've got a 64-bit version. But I normally use the standard version. So I'm just going to click on the link and save to downloads. Doesn't take too long to download, it's only a small file. Right, that's finished downloading. I'll just close that down. I'll just go into my downloads. Then I'm going to unzip the file, or extract to. I normally use 7-zip. I'm going to extract to Pi Core Player. Doesn't take too long to do. And just close that down. Now we're going to burn the image. I'm using Raspberry Pi Imager. Just get that to load. I'm going to choose the OS. Just scroll down to the bottom and you could use custom. And there's the folder I unzipped. And there's the image file. So just double click on it to select it. Then I'm going to choose my SD card. Just double click on it. Then just click write. And yes. Doesn't take too long to write the image. I'll do this in real time. And that's done. Just going to click continue and close it. Thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to set up the Wi-Fi first before I plug the SD card into the Raspberry Pi. So unplug your SD card, then plug it back into your PC, because we want to edit a file, a config file. So I'm going to go into my PC, and that's my SD card. If you scroll right down to the bottom, you'll see a file starts wpa.config. You want to associate it with Notepad. I've already done that. So I'm just going to double click on it to open it. And just scroll down. And here you'll find your Wi-Fi settings. If you're using Ethernet, you don't have to do this. So I'm going to change this to my Wi-Fi name, the SSID to my Wi-Fi, and then a PSK to the Wi-Fi's password. I just find it quicker doing it this way. Then I'm just going to close it and then save. Right, the thing you want to do now is right click on the file and click rename, and we want to remove sample and a little dot. There's a little dot there as well, so it just says .config at the end. Then just press enter on your keyboard to save it, and then yes, and that's done. You can now unplug the SD card from your PC and plug it into your Raspberry Pi for the first time. Right, the thing is, to log into the Raspberry Pi you need the IP address. Either look in your router or use a bit of software called Advanced IP Scanner. That'll show you the IP address of the Raspberry Pi. You'll see it come up as PiCore Player. So I'm just going to open Google Chrome. I've already got a shortcut to my Pi, to my PiCore Player, so I'm just going to click on it. So this is the first page you'll see. So we want to click on the main page. Just scroll down, and the first thing I'm going to do is resize the file system. So I'm just going to click on it, and then in the drop down I'm going to use a whole SD card, and then click resize. It can take a minute or two to do, it all depends on the speed of your SD card. And once it's done, your Raspberry Pi will reboot. Right, that's rebooted. Now we're going to go into Squeeze Lite settings. We're going to go into your audio card, say like you're using a Hi-Fi Berry hat or say a USB DAC. All your options are there. I'm using a Hi-Fi Berry DAC Plus, so I'm just going to select that. And then I'm going to click Save. Now it's asking me to do a reboot, so I'm just going to click OK. Just give it a few seconds to reboot. Right, that's rebooted. I'm going to go back into the Squeeze Lite settings, and there's the card I'm using. Well, you can change the name if you need to, but I'm going to keep that as it is. The thing you need to do is check the output settings. With the Hi-Fi Berry card, it's automatically picked the right ones. But if that's not working for your card, click on More, and in the drop down you will see other options for your cards which you can try. Normally you want either HW or System Default. One of them normally works, but it gives you the other options you can try. I'll just click on Less. You've got other settings you can try, but I don't touch any of these. I just leave them as they are. I'll go into Wi-Fi settings, but I've already set this up. But if you haven't done what I did at the beginning, you will see options here to set up your Wi-Fi. But I've already done it. They'll be right there. Right, now I'm going to go into Tweaks. You've got a host name if you want to change it. I'm going to leave it as it is. Time zone, that should set itself up automatically. Just going to scroll down. Right, if you're using, say, the official 7-inch touchscreen or any other screen, you want to install Jive Lite. So I'm just going to click Install. Doesn't take too long to do. You can run PiCore Player headless, but if you're using a screen, you want to install Jive Lite. Nearly done. and it's asking me to do a reboot, so I'll just click OK. Just give it a few seconds to reboot. That's rebooted. I'm just going to go back into tweaks. Just scroll down. You got options there if you need to rotate the screen, but if you're using the official screen, it doesn't need to be done. Got options there if you're using a remote. I don't touch any of these other settings, I leave them as they are. Now we're going to go into LMS, Logitech Media Server. As you can see, it's not running. We're going to install that in a minute. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is install and enable additional file systems, because I'm using a hard drive which is NTFS, so I'm going to click install. Let them download. And they're installed. Thing I would do is refresh the page, or your drive might not show up. I'm using a USB drive. Then if I scroll down, you got picked from the following detected USB disks, and as you can see, that's my SD card being detected. So I'm going to click enable. You can call this the mount point any name you want to, so I'm just going to call it music. You can call it what you want. And then I'm going to click set USB mount. And that's done. I'm going to click go back. Just scroll down. Yep, that's mounted. If you're using a network drive, say a drive plugged into your router, you change the settings here to mount it. The thing is, now we're going to set up the Logitech Media Server. The thing you have to do, you have to scroll right down to the bottom, and you'll see a tab that says Player Stroke Server, right down the bottom. And now we want to install the LMS. Doesn't take too long to do. Right, that's installed, but it's not running yet. So the thing we need to do is click on Start LMS. Just click there. Give it a few seconds. And now it's running. We've got the tick. There's a few other settings down there, but I don't touch. Just check my settings. I've got another video where I show you how to set up Samba. I'll put a link in the description. I'll just scroll back up. Right up the top here, there's a little tab, LMS. So I'm going to click on that. This will take us to the Logitech Media Server, which is now running. You don't need a mysqueezebox.com account. It's up to you. Entirely up to you if you want to set one up, but you don't need one to run it. So either click skip or next. I'll just click next. Now we're going to mount a hard drive where we got our music, or the SD card. So you want to go on MNT, click the plus, and there's the mount I made earlier, which is music. and inside there I've got the music folders. So down there you want to make sure it says MNT/music. Then I'm going to click next. I never use a playlist folder, so I'll leave that as it is. I don't ever touch that. Just going to click next and then finish. And when it first starts, it'll start scanning your music library or your media library. But I've only got a few albums on there, so it won't take too long. And that's all done. I'll just go into my album artists. There's my albums, which is on the USB drive. So they're the albums and the covers. So you can click on any one and see the track listings. Then just click the play button. Yep, they've all loaded in. From the drop down you can just have, say, hide artwork and just have text, but I'll leave it as it is. Just go back into album artists. Just check one of the others or a couple of the others. Yep, all the tracks have loaded. I'll just click the play button. Yep, that's loaded fine. Just click home. You've got other ways you can search for your albums or artists. Plus you've got radio, local radio. So if I click on one of them and then go stations, these are all my local stations on the internet. I'll just click on Absolute 80s. Make sure it loads up. Yep, that's working fine. Just go back into my albums. You can just click on the name and it'll play all the songs and say all the albums. If you go into settings, you got extra options. If you want to add another mount, you got your player. I don't ever touch any of these settings. Plugins. These are all the plugins which are being used. You can add your others. I normally add, say, Bandcamp or SoundCloud plugins. You just tick on the left, tick the box, then just click apply, and that'll install the plugins for you. Only takes a few seconds to do. Got advanced. And if you go to the drop down, there's all your other settings you can change and tinker with, but I always leave them. If you go into information, show you, say, tracks, albums, artists. So I'm just going to click close. Just go back home. Any apps you install will be there, say SoundCloud or Bandcamp. The thing I'll do now, I'll swap over to my Raspberry Pi and show you what the touch screen will look like and the settings I normally change. Just close that down. Right, this is what the screen, say if you're using a touch screen, this is what you'll see first when it first boots. So I'm going to select my language as English. If you're using a 7-inch touchscreen, it should default as Joggler, which is the one you want to use. So I'm going to leave it as it is and just click back. Right, you want to go into settings. These are the few things I normally change. So I go into settings, then I go into screen. You got your date and time format. If you want to change it to say 24 hours or 12 hours. Then you've got your date format. I normally swap it to that one because I think it looks neater. Click back. Short date format. Going to change it to that one. Week start to Monday. Just go back again. Just go into screensavers. When playing, leave it as now playing. When stopped, I normally have the analog clock, but you can choose one of the others, up to you. Click back. When off, I normally have the screen turn itself off, which is right down the bottom. Where are you? That's it. Display off. I select that one. I'll just go back. That's everything I'm going to change in there. Select skin, we've already done that. We did that at the beginning, very beginning. Right, you also got wallpapers. You can pick one of them if you want to. I normally use that one. Just go back. Stick with that one. Just go back. Go back again. Right, thing I would do, once you've changed all your settings, go to PiCore Player. And right down the bottom you'll see Save Settings to SD card. Click on that. Or double tap the screen, as you'll be using a touch screen. And then now it's saving all the changes you've made to the SD card. Just going to go back. Back again. Just going to go into My Music. Going to go into my album artists. You're only seeing the mouse pointer because I'm connecting this via the HDMI. Just go into my albums, a bit of Trevor something. I'll just load it up. There's all the tracks. Just click on the first one. This is the main screen you'll see, but you can change it. There's a few other options of the view. So you got your back button, your pause and play, forward, repeat, say single or a whole album, and you've got shuffle. Plus you've got your volume controls. So if you just tap the screen, you can get a few different other views. Just the album cover. Just the text. Sort of like a graphic equalizer. And some meters, UV meters. But I normally just leave it as the original, the first one. Right, so that's PiCore Player all set up and running. So as always, I hope this video helps, and goodbye. I'll just pause it just to show you the clock. I'm still here.